Hello, I thought I would pop on just to do a quick video on how to get your dog used to wearing a harness, because I know some people have problems with this, especially with their puppies when they're first putting the harness on their puppy. So I've got a few stages that we can go through at the puppy's own time to get them used to wearing the harness. Okay, so the reason why I prefer a harness is because the dog's neck is quite sensitive and there's a lot of body parts in here that are needed, and if we put a collar on our puppy or even just a normal dog and the dog pulls, then they can create whiplash, damage, collapse, spine problems, so many things. It's not even worth it really. So I always use a harness. That's my top recommendation, is always put your dog in a harness, especially if they don't know how to walk on a lead yet, because you don't want them hurting themselves. My favourite harness is this. It's a Perfect Fit harness, and the reason why it's my favourite is because it's got a front attachment as well, and you can put the dog's head through it, or you can change it up so that you can do it over the feet, so it helps. You can put it on a lot of dogs with lots of different problems. So Perfect Fit is my preferred, or a T-Touch harness is my second favourite. So we're just going to show you how to get your dog used to having the harness put on to start off with, and this just might take a few extra minutes each day before you go on a walk. But I'd also practice this when you're not going on a walk. Okay, we've already been on a walk today, so we're now just doing a little bit of training. So I use something called the push drop stick method when I'm doing this sort of work, and it's a, I don't know if you can see that very well. I can send you this if you want me to, info@emma'sanimals.co.uk, and it's basically, you've got one column which says criteria, and then you've got 5 columns which you tick off, so you do 5 repeats of each criteria before you move on. But you only move on if your dog has got, if you can tick off 4 or 5 out of the 5 things, and your dog's done it happily. If the dog gets 3 out of 5 correct, then you stick at the criteria you're at. If your dog gets 2 or less, then you drop back to the easier criteria that you've just come back from. Okay, so this is a great method that I use for most desensitization type works. So my first criteria on my chart is to show the dog my harness and then feed. And each time I'm going to feed 5. So each time I'm going to need to get 5 treats out. So that I know what I've done, how much I've done, and when I need to move on. Here, pup. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, now your dogs might already be worried about seeing the harness, and they might run off. So what I would suggest you do is, even if they're not with you, if they're the other side of the room, you just literally show the harness, yes, feed. Show the harness, yes, feed. Now she's obsessing with the food, so I'm going to show the harness, yes, and then feed. And this is where you need high rewards. So look at your hierarchy of rewards that we did in class. Yes. And use a reward that's going to be quite motivating for your dog. Yes. So we've done that 5 times quite happily. She's lied down here. She's not run off. She's not worried. If your dog is worried, then you keep doing that until your dog is happy to be near you whilst they look at the harness. Okay. Now the next step, once your dog's okay with that, is you're going to move the harness closer to them and reward, and you're going to do that 5 times. So in your criteria you tick off, I can tick off 5, that she was okay for 5 reps. 5 treats for the next section. My hand. Clean my hand please, servant. Thank you. So criteria is bring the harness out closer to her because she's happy with it. Mark my yes, and then feed. Yes. Yes. And she can even sniff it, that's absolutely fine. Yes, as long as she doesn't try and bite it. Yes, because we don't want her to think this is a toy, okay? Now she's sniffing it, that's fine. Yes. Finish my 5 reps. If your dog is biting it, then you're moving too fast too quickly, so then I would get a bit more distance from your dog and just do that again, okay? And use a slower method as well. So you'll come out and go really slowly, yes, feed, okay? Rather than quickly, because the quicker you do it, the more likely your dog will want to bite the toy harness, okay? So she did those 5 reps fine, so I can tick, 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 tick on my criteria chart. So my next step is going to be put my hand through the head section. So this is the head section. My hand's going to go through the head section and I'm going to feed 5 times, okay? So I'm going to get my 5 treats out. Lick my hand. Okay, so this is going to be through there. Now another thing I want to mention is that this dingly dangly thing, some dogs don't like the sound of that, it's too aversive for them. If you take that off and practice the training, if your dog's happier to be nearer the harness without that dingly dangling, then you'll know that this is a reason why they don't like the harness so much. There's something called flexi tags, oh good girl, that you can get that don't make that noise, and that's quite a good little tag to use as well. I do have some myself. So that's something to take note of, just in case that's something your dog doesn't like, okay? So I've got my 5 treats. I'm going to put my hand through and feed. Yes. 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 One more. Yeah, clever sausage. So tick, 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 tick. 5 reps, absolutely fine. If your dog isn't fine, go back a step. Depends on how many you've got. So if you've got 3, stick. 4 or 5, move on to 4 or 5 ticks, move on to the next step. Less than 3, drop. Okay, push, drop, stick. So my next set of criteria is going to be moving this harness closer to her head. Okay. Now you can break this up into smaller segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if your dog is okay with hand through, move the harness, then, and not moving it towards the head, then you can break that up into smaller segments, okay? Everything can be broken up. This is why I love this method so much. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move this towards her head, okay? Towards, then I'm going to feed and then make it back off so that she gets the good stuff at the most scariest part, okay? So let her lick the hand, feed, back off, okay? Feed, back off. Feed, back off. One more. Feed, back off. Okay. Now if that was too much for your dog, then we're gonna do 5 reps of feeding, move, feed. Move, feed. Move, feed. Okay. Oh, she's doing a chin target on my hand, you clever sausage. You so clever girl. Right, so the next stage is I'm actually going to put it on her head now. And again, you can break this up into smaller segments depending on how far your dog is in the training and how much they like it. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm using really high value rewards. So look at that motivation and the hierarchy we went through in class. So now, this is a bit that I would suggest make this bit bigger than your dog's head so that it's not too bad when they're getting used to it going on, okay? So I'm letting her interested in the food, I'm moving it to her head, and then I'm feeding, and then moving it away, okay? So the good stuff happens at the scary bit. Feed, move the harness away. Get her interested in the food, feed, harness goes away. So nothing good happens when the harness is leaving. Only good stuff happens when the harness is at her head. Feed, harness goes away. Drop that on the floor there. Last one. Feed, harness goes away. Okay? So then my next set of criteria is to put it fully on her head. But again, dependent on your dog, you might need to break that up into smaller criteria sets. Okay. Right, so now I'm going to get her interested in the food. I'm going to put it on her head, take it off, and feed as I come off, because it's that bit that might be the problem, okay? It's not that nice. It's a bit weird when your dog's getting used to it. So get her interested in food, put it on. When you're taking it off, feed, and then interested in the food. Might have a slippery hand at this point. Good girl. One more. On. Good girl. Lots of encouragement for Puppy. Because it's quite scary, isn't it? Yes, it is. Clever sausage. So now what I'm going to do is put it fully on her head so that it's resting on her. So the next thing is going to be a bit weird for her when the harness lays on her back. So that might be a bit weird. So I'm going to do 5 reps of the harness being on her back. Okay, so by 5 reps I mean I'm just going to feed her 5 treats. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that called? A fish element. Right, so get her interested. Put the harness over her head. Good girl. Keep her interested in the food. Yes. Can't get the treats out quick enough, can I? 2. Good. 3. Nice. 4. Clever sausage. And then 5. And then that comes back off again. Oh yes, clever girl. Okay, so it doesn't stay on for too long, it comes off after the 5 reps. I can tick all that off. We're going good. So now what I'm going to do is show you how to do up the clips on the side. So we're going to use a bit of luring. And another thing I want to mention is sometimes that noise is quite scary for dogs. So if you hold it in, when you click it, it doesn't make the noise, okay? So there's something else for you to think about. It could be that noise that's making your dog not want the harness on. There's loads of things that could be making your dog not want the harness on. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have 5 treats this time because I'm going to be scatter feeding. I'm going to be sprinkling treats on the floor. So I need a handful of treats ready to put on the floor. So I'm going to break these up into small little scatter feedy bits. And this is something I would do every day, so I wouldn't do it just when you're about to walk your dog, because sometimes it can take a bit long, and you do need time to get your dog used to it. It's not a rush job, this. So okay, so I've got lots of nice little treats there. So now what I'm going to do is get ready. So again, I'm going to get her interested in the food, put it over the head. Okay. Now because she's lying down, I need her to get up. So I'm going to scatter feed over here so that she has to get up. Get it. Get it. Come in. Clever. And then you pick up one side, and then you do that up. And then you get some more food here. Scatter, scatter, scatter. And then you do this up. So now your dog's got it on, so this is going to feel weird. So then I would probably do some more scatter feeding so they're more occupied with doing something rather than what's on them. And then you can give them a nice stroke if they like strokes. Good girl. Yes, a clever sausage. You can have a bit of a play if they like play. She's more interested in eating the food off the floor. Good girl. Well done, sausage. Oh, well done, sausage. Ready. Have a bit of a play, do some more scatter feeding, and then take it off. Now, another reason why I love these harnesses is because not only can you undo them from the side, you can also undo it from the neck, so that you don't have to take it off like that. And I've used this as well with a lot of dogs that are worried about things going over their head. So then I just do this. And then I hold the clip in because it's right by the ear, and then that's on the head. So this is another reason why I love these Perfect Fit harnesses. They're multi-use for most dogs, and they're quite comfy because they're made of fleece as well. So have a practice, let me know how you get on. If you want one of these sheets, email me, and good luck. See you later.